Hey everyone, it's Magic Pistolman here, and today we are going to talk about Ragnarok. Yes, Ragnarok is the new hero that came out and saved the world. Was it yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. Yesterday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It came out in the event store, so you can still buy it until the event's over. It's an Outlander. It's a very fun hero. I'll kind of go through some of his perks. It's He's a very good hero, and I am super excited to play more with him. So he gets focused acquisition, loot llama, shock tower. Kind of those are all kind of basic Outlander things. He gets a new ability called seismic impact, which is insane. It is very fun, and you'll see in the gameplay of me using seismic impact. And then you have fault line. Seismic impact's cooldown is lowered by 6 seconds. Sustained impact. Seismic impact's stamina cost is reduced by 15. Anti-material charge. Long arm of the law increases travel distance of anti-material charge by 1.5 tiles. That's huge. Fist to the south move reduces the cooldown of anti-material charge by 5 seconds. That's kind of nice. And then charged fist, which anti-material charge can now be charged up by holding down the activation key, dealing up to 150% additional damage. In the zone, I think all the Outlanders get that. Return to center. Seismic impact returns to its original impact location. That's super good. Iron Knuckles increases the damage of anti-material charge back by an additional 150% against enemies. That's super good. That basically makes anti-material charge usable in combat. But I did get him to 106, and I have tried him out a ton. And he's awesome. So if you want Ragnarok, you can go into the event store and buy him on sale. He's on sale for 3,200 gold from 4,000. I don't know why it says on sale. I don't think it's ever going to go off sale, but basically you can buy him probably until the end of the event. So he'll be super fun. And I definitely recommend that you buy him. I'm going to talk about how he compares to some other heroes. I'm talking about the loadout I would run with him and other loadouts you could try. I'm going to talk about his strengths and weaknesses. So, how he compares to a couple other heroes, it's like, I definitely not going to make him my main. I think Ranger Deadeye is better, but only in the sense that Ranger Deadeye does more damage with weapons, because Ragnarok doesn't get any weapon perks. But, he's kind of like an ability outlander, similar to Reclaimer, or Fragment Flurry, where you have, like, you just sit there and, like, AFK, or you don't really AFK with Ragnarok, but you have really good abilities that you can use. With Ragnarok, they all have low cooldowns. The Shock Tower, Seismic Impact, and Anti-Material Charge all has a pretty low cooldowns. It's 12 seconds, 15 seconds, and 20 seconds, so basically you can use, like, I'm going to use Anti-Material Charge, then Seismic Impact, and then Shock Tower, and stuff like that. Oh, it's not, those weren't the actual cooldowns. Although, oops. Hold on. Yeah, so, it's 9 seconds, 7 seconds, and 20 seconds. There we go. So basically you can just keep using the abilities over and over again, and you hardly need to shoot. But as you can see in my gameplay, I am running 3 different pistols, because I love pistols. I'm running the Freedom's Herald, the Whisper .45, and the Duelist. Now the Duelist I am planning on making energy, but at the very moment, it is physical, so it's not going to be doing as much damage as it normally would if it was energy, because I am running Reclaimer, my support. And I will show you a screen of my loadout, but Reclaimer is definitely good in the support. He's very similar to Carbide, the soldier, where not necessarily he's as strong as Carbide, but his game style is very similar, where, like, Carbide's complete ability hero, where and some of the other soldiers, especially like Love Ranger, he gets all these weapon perks, when Carbide just gets, like, perks to his abilities. It's very similar. Ragnarok is very similar. How he gets all these perks to his abilities and doesn't get any weapon perks. I highly recommend him if you're kind of in a lower level mission and you don't want to use your abilities as much. In higher level missions, he's a little bit weak. I will get into his strengths and weaknesses in a bit, but yeah. So he's very similar to Carbide. He's very similar to Fragment Flurry, and obviously he's similar to Striker AC. He gets all these anti-material charge buffs, but he also gets seismic impact buffs. So if you like Striker AC's Fist for combat, I would definitely recommend trying out Ragnarok for combat, because they're both very similar. The only thing I think combat-wise is the energy cost is reduced more on Striker, and he has Kinetic Punch, which increases the impact and stuff like that. But you can put a Kinetic Punch tactical on Ragnarok and make it so it's only the amount of energy used, and that's not really a big deal anyways. So he can, and then he also gets Seismic Impact, so it's definitely a better combat here than Striker AC. And you can also use him for farming. Ragnarok is great for farming as well. Seismic Impact doesn't do any damage to things like rocks and houses and stuff like that. It doesn't do any damage to that, just so you guys know. So the loadout I'm running is this. I run Ragnarok in main, obviously. I run Reclaimer in support, and I run Shuriken Master Sarah in tactical. So Reclaimer's bonus is Energized. Increases energy damage by 20%. The reason why I have Energized is because two of his abilities are energy. The Shock Tower and the Seismic Slam. And it allows me to have a weapon perk. I can use energy weapons on Ragnarok if I run Fragment Flurry instead of Shuriken Master. And if I have Shuriken Master in support, I do have a second Shuriken Master, but some people might not have a second Shuriken Master they could put in tactical. So the reason why I'm running Shuriken Master in tactical is because there aren't many anti-material charge. There aren't many bonuses that help him, and really when there's a tactical squad bonus, I really don't think there's a best bonus for some heroes. It really depends on what ability is your favorite, because tacticals affect the hero, not the weapons. And most of the tacticals increase abilities. So if you're running Ragnarok and your favorite ability is Loot Llama, then you could run Gunblazer in your tactical for the ammo. Let's say you're running Ragnarok and your favorite ability is Shock Tower. There's a hero that gets a buff on Shock Tower. I'm pretty sure it's Shotgun or Grizzly. Increases the duration of Shock Tower by 2 seconds if placed with a charge fragment. But if you do like Shock Tower, you do have to find those fragments, and it's kind of a pain. So just so you know. And then if you like anti-material charge the best, you can go with a couple anti-material charge tacticals, and there are a couple of them. There's Shuriken Master Sarah, which pressure points anti-material charge now slows enemy movement by 30% for 7 seconds. It's very good. I like it. And then there's also Kinetic Punch that Electro Pulse gets, and let me read that. Increases the impact and knockback of anti-material charge by a moderate amount. It is very good. And those are basically the two different, or those are all of the tacticals that are kind of the best for them. There could be a couple other ones if you're big on certain other tacticals. I mean, like, there's some that affect the hero, kind of like or like, I don't know, stuff like that. But that's what I would go for loadout wise. Usually whenever someone asks me, hey, what tactical should I run on this hero, the next question I ask them is, what's your favorite ability? And then they answer me and they're like, oh, I love grenades. And I'd be like, oh, grenades, okay, well, there's this and this tactical for grenades. And then I'll explain each of the tacticals and see which one they like the best. So that's usually how I do that. When it comes to tacticals, usually I'll give them a list, unless it's like Ranger Deadeye, where the only ability he really has that would even be affected by any tacticals is Teddy and anti-material charge, and Teddy is stronger than anti-material charge because Ranger Deadeye's anti-material charge really isn't for combat, so I would really go with a Teddy tactical on him, but that's just an example. So his strengths and weaknesses. So Ragnarok is a great hero. One strength that he has is he's an AoE monster. when it comes to destroying a bunch of husks, he just demolishes them all. And then especially when you pair it with the Freedom's Herald, it makes it even more of a monster. It's insane how many husks he can kill. He's basically a ninja. Um, so he's definitely a fun character to use. I think honestly he's one of the funnest characters I've played with in a while. He's not very strong. His abilities do a great amount of damage. Like Seismic Impact, it does say 0 energy damage. That's a bug. It doesn't do 0 energy damage. I actually don't know how much it does, but I was getting around 75k hits with Seismic Impact every time it hit. And Seismic Impact, the last upgrade where it says returns to sender, is you hit them twice when you use it. So it's super good. And the really cool thing about Seismic Slam is that it goes up like walls and stuff like that. So if the husk is touching the wall, you can actually hit the husk 4 times with Seismic Impact. From 2 from going up and 2 from going back down. It's super cool. If you're trying to have a fun time playing the game, which I always am, Ragnarok is super fun to play. He's kind of hard to play in Twine. I have played some really good games with him in Twine. I'll get like 5k combat and like Ride the Lightning and stuff like that. But his weakness is that he dies pretty quickly because he's an Outlander, and he's not very mobile. He doesn't get phase shift. When playing Ragnarok, you really have to play very carefully. It's a hero you have to master, and there aren't many heroes you really have to master. Like ninjas, you kind of have to master because you have to play in close range. So you can only do damage in close range, but then they don't have much health and stuff like that. So he does die a lot. So what I would do is try to stay. I wouldn't go close to the husks. I would try to stay at least a tile or 2 away from the husks when you use your abilities, because your abilities are strong enough. Or you can run up to the husks if you're prepared to make sure they don't hit you. So definitely run Adrenaline Rush when you're running Ragnarok. You're going to need it. I wouldn't recommend anything else on him besides Adrenaline Rush. That's definitely very important when you're running Ragnarok. He's super not mobile. If you're like I love Outlanders that have phase shift, and really Outlanders that don't have phase shift are kind of weak. You know, like this is probably one of the strongest ones that doesn't have phase shift. But yeah, if you can deal with it, which I've been learning how to deal with it, then he's a very, very, very good hero. So yeah, I mean that's basically Ragnarok. He's a great hero. I love him a lot. Anyone who says he's a bad hero is wrong. He just takes a while to kind of master, I guess. And yeah, that's my review of Ragnarok. Goodbye, guys.